I've been spending a lot of time chopping wood and I'm loving it and it's a great time, but I split the handle on this axe and I'm going to attempt to repair it. Cue the music. Right, that should be long enough. Here's the deal. I went and got this massive Fiskars Maul. It's an amazing log splitter. I've been loving working with it. It's been a great tool, very heavy, 8 pounds or 3.6 kilos up here, which means when you're throwing it around, it really splits the logs. And if I'm smart, I'd use this position right now to splice in some footage of me chopping up some big logs. This has all come about because I've moved into this new spot that has a fireplace, right? So I need wood and I've got a really good collection of wood. I can see a heap of it over there, heap of it over there. In fact, do you want to see? Great, let's have a look. All of that, there's some there just to be chopped up. There's of course all of that stuff over there. And then even in the little garage, there's stuff over there. So if we have a closer look, all of that. I've chopped up all of that. This is a pile I'll be working through very soon. And I'll usually do it when I'm like, I've got some kettlebells and stuff in there. So I'll just do a little morning workout and then superset it with some chopping up or splitting some big logs. You can see here, I've got all of this stuff here is like the smaller kindling stuff. I've got some bigger chunky stuff. Again, bigger chunky stuff, and then even bigger chunkier stuff there. Don't mind the dip bars, but there's all this wood here as well that I've chopped through. And there's more coming. I really want these axes to work. And as much as I want to go and buy another Fiskars splitting axe, like there's this one here, which is the ISO core, the Maul, which is, I'm loving it. It's great. But there's another one, it's like the X32 or the X36, both great. I'd really like to own one of those, but I just don't want to be super wasteful. And I bought this axe and it cost me 90 bucks and I just like to repair it. If I can, I'd like to repair it. Even if it only lasts like another season. I just would like to get the most out of it without having to go and buy new stuff. There's a couple of reasons for this. One of them is I've actually just been drinking in a whole bunch of content or watching a whole bunch of content from a content creator, and his name's Bo Mills. Many of you will probably already know who Bo Mills is and what he's all about. As someone who's, whether I like to think of it or not, engaged in content creation, I've been curious about direction in which I'm going to be moving, how this new space is going to look for me, and what new challenges are coming up. I think I'm talking with someone about content creation and all that sort of stuff really soon, which will be fun, and I'm happy to share that across the platforms. But watching Bo Mills stuff, he's very frugal and he just goes on all these really great little adventures. And he's an amazing storyteller, but also he takes risks. So I didn't know whether this was going to work out. I didn't know whether this would fail. I didn't know whether I would do it and then it would still break, but I thought I'd give it a crack. So I took myself to Bunwar this morning and I got this tiny little piece of Dowell rod. It's like 4 mil. I've got myself some Gorilla PVA, wood glue. Why did we call it PVA back in the day? The great thing is, even though I don't know what it is now, I'll be able to look it up. So yeah, I went and got myself some Gorilla Glue, some wood Gorilla Glue. Funny thing is, I didn't need this much, but this was the smallest amount that I could get. So I guess I'll just hang on to this for quite a long time. I also have some clamps that have been sitting around here for a while. I'm really glad I didn't get rid of those. And I've got the axe. So the idea is I'm going to drill with some drill bits into the axe handle, go down like that, and these two spots here, more or less, give or take. And then I'm going to insert some dowel rod in there, hoping that that's going to hold it all together. I might even do a couple of places up and down here just to strengthen it as much as I possibly can. Then we're going to use the clamps to clamp it all up, and then I'll leave it overnight, come back tomorrow, we'll use this to sand it all down, make sure there are no splinters, and we'll give it a buzz and see how well it chops. Now I just need to go and get my drill bit. Drill's charged. Right, first thing I want to do is make sure that my drill bit is going to fit this dowel rod, because that might be that's a very snug fit. I like that one. Yeah, I like that. Let's use 4. I mean, it is 4 mil, so I really don't know whether this is going to work out, and I admit I really don't know what I'm doing. But I can't talk for this next bit. I really need to concentrate. Here's the thing, I've got to remind myself that this handle's kind of broken anyway, so whatever I do to it isn't going to matter so much. Let's try for one there. Great. There's the first hole drilled. Let's do a couple more of those and then we can talk about it. I of course really want to be careful. Ooh, that's what I wanted to be careful of. I didn't want to come out the other side. That's all right. Again, it doesn't really matter because the handle was kind of cooked anyway. Yeah, good. I'm just going to go a bit further down because the crack actually starts all the way up. The crack starts up there and it kind of goes all the way down here. So, you know, we've got plenty of dowel. We might as well use it. So now that I can chat, what I've noticed, I'm kind of getting inspired by Bo because I think I said this a second ago. He's very frugal, but he's very adventurous and he tells a really good story. And if I was going to tell a story about this axe, I would say that it's very old and it's come all the way from Sweden and now it's found its way to me and I've mistreated it by not learning how axes work, which is why I need this overstrike that I put on there, if you'll remember. Using that block splitter has definitely helped me out. But I think what I've found is that the length difference between these two axes, so this one here and then this one here, you'll see that this block splitter is just a little bit longer, and because I've been using that more than this one, I'm misjudging the strikes and I'm hitting here, which is causing the split over here. Anyway, we're at the gluing part. So now I'm going to get this glue and I've got to fill in that crack as much as I can, then also cover the dowel, put it in, and then clamp everything up. What I need first though is a little piece of string, really thin wire. It's going to help me put as much glue down that split as possible. Like I found a cable tie. Bo's content, it's really great. There's something about it that I really enjoy and I've been watching heaps of it lately. I think the thing that I like about it most, he tells a story and he also lets the edits go much longer than I've let them go. And I think when I lean into this whole content creation thing, I got to recognize that it's good to find other people in the content creation space that you really like and then figure out what it is about them and what it is about their content that you really like so you can learn from what they do. And that's what I'm hoping is happening here. Got to really concentrate on this. So yeah, I think I'm just coming to terms with the fact that I am a content creator, whether I agree with that term or not. It's something that I think I've wrestled with for a long time, and I think anyone that begins their content creation, for lack of a better word, journey also comes across the same thing where they're just like, oh, I'm not a content creator, I just make some videos for social media. So you're making content? But I know what you mean. Like, I know what they mean when they say I'm not a content creator, because I've resisted those words myself for a very long time, because it feels a bit gross, content creator, you know. But I think when you lean into the fact that that's what it is that you are and that's what it is that you're doing, it kind of almost empowers you a little bit more to lean in harder to the space that you're in. Right, so there's a whole bunch of glue down there. Now, oh, that's a terrible space to put an axe. Come on, pal. Oh yeah, that actually worked out quite well. What I'm trying to do is just put some glue in between in the split. I definitely want a lot down there at the end of the split. Let me see how much I can get in there. That's it. All right, this isn't looking too bad. It's not incredible, but it's not terrible. I think I've got to be careful as well because this Gorilla Glue is pretty quick drying, so I've got to get all this done as quick as I possibly can. So I've been approached by someone who follows me to talk about content creation, which is great, and I'm up for it, and I'd really like to do that. But it's funny how these things all tend to happen when, you know, you think to yourself, okay, if I'm a content creator, what does that look like? How do I lean into that? And then people are also asking you, hey, can we talk about content creation? I'd love to know more about what it is you do and how you think about stuff while I'm actually thinking about what it is that I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and making some plans and changes to move into those spaces. So interesting. Now this is the fun part. Yeah, let's break it off because then I can slowly guide it in there. It's times like these I wish I had a hammer. Cool. So that's what that's going to look like at the moment. Just going to get this tiny little piece of paper. I'm going to wrap it around so our glue doesn't stick to the clamp. Really want to make sure that end bit is nice and tightly secured. I really don't know how this is going to go. And look, if this doesn't work out, it's totally fine. I'll happily go and purchase a Fisker's axe. Honestly, I will. But I'd really like to just save this. Even if we have to get rid of the handle, that's okay. But for now, let's leave it like that. We'll come back, maybe a day or two, see how we go. And the beautiful thing about this is that it gives me a chance to edit stuff. And if I've messed up anything, I can come back and say it when we check out how amazing my work may or may not be. Anyway, that's me for today. See you soon, legends. So I just came back in this morning after giving the axe overnight to set, to give that glue some time to set. And while I was doing that, I had a bit of a visitor. So I came back in this morning to find I've got a couple of little inhabitants. There's one there. I think they both like climbing up into the roof. What if I gave you some food? Let's see what happens. I'm just gonna leave that there. And then I'm gonna leave that there. And then I'm gonna walk off inside and let's just wait and see what happens. And I just tried to feed one of them. I think it was two, it might have just been one. But I've left a cucumber there. So we might come back at another date, another time, just to see if they're gonna eat the cucumber. Because if that happens, then I might have to be responsible for leaving a few food items out here so they've got something to eat. But then again, they seem to be doing fine on their own without me. All right, here we go. So you can still see a little bit of a crack just there. I can hear him scurrying around in that roof. You can also see the crack there. You can still see it there. But I still have faith that this is going to work out. The thing is, the glue needs a full 24 hours to set. And it hasn't been 24 hours yet. It's been more like, I don't know. It's maybe been about 18 hours. So we've still got some time to let this set, which is perfectly fine because I've got a few things that I've got to do today anyway. So we're going to let this set and then we'll come back tomorrow. We'll give it a sand. Probably needs a bit of linseed oil as well, but I don't have any. Can always get some of that. Really, we just want to make sure the handle's going to be strong enough. So anyway, that's the progress for today. We've still got a split, but it could be strong. Let's come back tomorrow. We'll wait and see what happens with this particular axe. And I'm curious to see what happens with that continental cucumber and the possums. See you soon. Let's kind of hoping we were going to run into the possum. Cucumber's still there. Didn't even really have a nudge of it either. That's interesting. I thought he would have, or they would have gone nuts on it. Ah well, compost. Actually, worm farms. Right, it's been maybe 36 hours, so the glue's definitely cured. There's still that crack, and now we're at the point where we get rid of some of these things. I'm also noticing the wood's pretty dry, so it probably could have used some linseed oil when I first got it. There's a few cracks here and there, so it's definitely something we can work through. But now, just gonna sand all that stuff off. Let's try this out. Cool, so what I'm trying to do here is just smooth out those bits of wood that are being used to strengthen the axe handle, but also there's a lot of residue left over by the glue. So I'm trying to smooth that out, then also smooth out that crack best I can. I feel like that Irish guy. He always shows up with his little hat and his flannel shirts. He's like, how are you getting on? It's not too bad. We've sanded it. We've got a few supports in there. The crack's not looking so dramatic. I think with some fine sandpaper, that'll come up much better. And also some linseed oil. But now let's go and take it for a crack. Let's see what happens. Might as well start off with something a bit smaller that's already broken. This would be an easy split. Okay, so that worked out perfectly fine. Let's get something just a little bit bigger. Something like this is good. It's also dry. A lot of the wood around here has been quite wet just because it's been raining. Pretty good. Also pretty good, even though it was a miss. Great. Great. Whoop. Cool. I must say, it's holding together pretty well. I'm not exactly giving it the full slog that I normally would. Like, here's the block splitter. This is the one I go full ham with. Let's check that out. So I'm gonna get something big. I mean, look, it's definitely not the biggest, but it's probably about as big as I've got right now. This is how hard I would go with the block splitter. This is a lot lighter, and I don't need to be as forceful. So you can still put a little bit in there. Beauty. I reckon that's held up pretty good. Still a little bit of a crack in there, a little bit of air. And I could probably fill those out a little bit more. Might get some glue onto that. But honestly, not the worst repair job in the world. And again, I only really wanted this to last, you know, at least for another season. So if I could get through all of this wood, I'd be pretty happy about that. And it means if I need to buy a new axe next year, I'd be happy to do that. But at least this way I don't have to use a block splitter to chop up all of these smaller things, which can be a bit excessive. And also, it's much harder to aim with a big heavy axe, which is funny because if I were able to aim better, this whole situation never would have happened. All right, let's just chop a couple and see what happens. I'll give it a bit now. That's good. This overstrike hasn't really worked out. I've already ripped it. Look, so far so good. I'm not seeing any problems. Hey, that was great. Excellent. Cool. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see how long I can hang on to this handle But I think I might just get some linseed oil, and I might even fix up some of these tiny little details in there. But hey, repaired an axe handle. I'm going to dedicate this one to Bo Mills. Shout out to Bo Mills for coming through with the content creation and the inspiration. What a legend. I'm really keen to see how long this axe handle lasts. I might get some linseed oil, but this might be the end of the film. Thanks, you legends. It's been an absolute pleasure trying out this new form of content, inspired by Bo Mills. Whoops. Well, that's going to break if you use it like that, dickhead. And as much as I wanted to go and buy new Fiskars, I've just saved myself like 150 bucks. Pretty happy about that. Cool. Thanks, legends. See you soon. Last thing, we're just going to put some linseed oil on this bad boy. I gotta be honest, I've never oiled up an axe before. Not too bad. Now I'm just gonna let that dry.